The refugee ship smelled like fear and too many bodies in too little space. Sat in the corner of the communal area, her small fingers moving across a stolen data pad. She drew lines and circles, squares and arrows. The patterns made sense to her when nothing else did. She was 9 years old. 3 weeks ago, she had a home. She had a mother and a small garden where yellow flowers grew. Now she had nothing but the clothes on her back and the data pad she had grabbed while running from the fire and screams. The other children stayed away from her. She was human and humans were weak. Everyone said so. The war had proven it. The human colonies had fallen one by one like dominoes pushed by a careless hand. Was one of the lucky ones. She had survived. She did not feel lucky. "What is the soft skin doing?" a voice said above her. Looked up to see 3 alien children. They had scales that shimmered blue and green. Their eyes were large and black like pools of oil. "Drawing," said quietly. She pulled the data pad closer to her chest. "Humans draw pictures of flowers and sunshine," another child said. "This one had fur and too many teeth. Because they are weak and stupid." Said nothing. Her mother had taught her that words could not hurt unless you let them. But her mother was gone now, buried under rubble on a world that no longer existed. The children got bored and walked away, laughing in their clicking, chirping languages. Went back to her drawings. The Battle of Crimson Nebula. She had read about it in her father's files. The great victory of the owl species against the Federation fleet. Everyone celebrated it. Songs were sung, but saw something else in the battle reports. They had won, yes, but they had done it the hard way. "Those are military formations." The voice was deep and buzzed like 1,000 insects speaking at once, jerked her head up. Commander stood over her. He was Al, one of the insect people. His body was covered in hard black shell, and his 4 arms were folded across his chest. He had many eyes, all of them focused on and her data pad. I was just, started to explain, but her voice died in her throat. "You were just studying the Battle of Crimson Nebula," said. His voice was not angry. It sounded curious. Why would a human child study alien battles? Looked down at her hands. "My father was a military historian. He taught me things before." She did not finish the sentence. She did not need to. Everyone on this ship had a before that they did not talk about. Santini twitched. He sat down on the floor next to her, his body folding in ways that seemed impossible. For a long moment he said nothing. Then he spoke. "You want to know about war, little human. I will tell you about real war. Not the sanitized history files. Real war, where heroes die screaming and victories taste like ash." Should have been scared, but she was not. She had seen real war. She had seen her mother die holding a rifle, buying time for children to escape. Fear was something she understood now, and this was not it. "The Battle of Crimson Nebula began, was the greatest victory of my people. We faced a Federation fleet 3 times our size. They had better weapons, better ships, better everything. But we had courage and cunning." He told her the story. How the owl fleet had hidden in the nebula's gas clouds. How they had waited for the perfect moment. How they had struck fast and hard, cutting through the enemy formation like a blade through soft flesh. "We destroyed their command ship first," said, his voice filled with pride. "Without leadership, they scattered like frightened insects. We hunted them down, ship by ship. By the end, 40% of our fleet was gone, but we had won." "Listen," she nodded, then she spoke. "You should not have lost 40%. The words hung in the air between them. Santini stopped moving. All of his eyes focused on this small human child who dared to criticize the greatest military victory of his species. "Explain," he said. His voice was very quiet. Pointed at her data pad. "You destroyed their command ship first. That was good. But then you chased the scattered ships. That was bad. They were running in all directions, so your fleet split up to chase them. That meant each of your ships was alone when they found the enemy." She pulled up a diagram. Her small fingers moved quickly, changing the battle formation. If you had kept your fleet together and pushed toward their rally point, you would have caught them when they tried to regroup. They always regroup. The Federation always regroups. It is in their doctrine. You would have destroyed them all at once, and you would have lost maybe 10% of your ships, not 40. Stared at the diagram. His mind raced through the battle, replaying it with this new strategy. The human child was right. The Federation fleet had tried to regroup. The OWL had caught them during the regroup, but by then, the OWL fleet was scattered too. The battle had become a messy, brutal fight instead of a clean victory. They had lost so many good soldiers because of that mistake. How? Started to ask, but other aliens were gathering now. Word spread quickly on a refugee ship. The human child had criticized the Battle of Crimson Nebula, the sacred victory, the impossible triumph. Pilot pushed through the crowd. He was avian with 4 arms and feathers that shimmered like oil on water. "The child speaks nonsense," he said. "Humans lost their war. What do they know of victory?" Looked up at him. Her eyes were dark and tired. "We lost because we were outnumbered 1,000 to 1, she said quietly. "But we made them pay for every world. We taught them to fear the places where humans still lived. They won because they had more ships, not because they were smarter." She stood up, and suddenly she did not look like a 9-year-old child anymore. She looked old, tired, worn down by things no child should see. "My father said that war is math," continued. "Math and psychology. You need to understand numbers, and you need to understand your enemy. The Federation always regroups. Always. They are predictable. You should have used that against them." The crowd was silent. Commander looked at this human child, this tiny survivor of a dead world, and felt something he had not felt in a long time. Respect. "What is your name, child?" he asked. She said, "My name is." Repeated, "I think we need to talk more about war." Around them, the other refugees whispered and murmured. The human child who corrected a OWL commander. The soft skin who saw things that warriors missed. It was strange. It was impossible. But in a war that had already killed billions, maybe impossible was exactly what they needed. The bridge of the refugee ship was not meant to hold so many bodies, but they came anyway. Officers from a dozen species crowded into the command center, all wanting to see the human child who claimed to understand war better than warriors. Sat in a chair too big for her, her legs dangling above the floor. She held a small metal box in her hands, turning it over and over. The box hummed softly. Admiral leaned forward on his command throne. He was reptilian, with green scales and yellow eyes that could see in 17 different spectrums. He had commanded fleets whence great-grandparents were not yet born. "Tell me about the siege of Broken Moon," he said. His voice was like rocks grinding together. "My people consider it a perfect defensive victory. We held a moon base against an army for 6 months. They lost 100 ships trying to take it. We lost none." Closed her eyes. She had read about this battle too. Her father's files contained everything. Every war, every battle, every mistake that every species had made. He had said that history was the greatest teacher, but only if you paid attention. "You had the high ground," said slowly. "The moon had defense platforms that could destroy any ship that came close, so they tried to land soldiers instead, over and over. You killed them all." "Yes," said proudly, "for 6 months." "But you did not need to fight for 6 months," said. She opened her eyes and looked at the admiral. "After the first month, you knew their pattern. They attacked from the northern hemisphere because that was where their ships could hide from your sensors. You knew this, but you just waited and killed them when they came." She activated her data pad, showing a simple map. On the second month, you could have sent a small strike team to the southern hemisphere. There is nothing there. No defenses. But that is where their supply depot was. If you destroyed their supplies, they would have to leave. You would have one in 6 weeks, not 6 months. The bridge went quiet. Lieutenant, an amphibious being with wet, gray skin, checked his console. His webbed fingers moved quickly across the display. "The child is correct," he said, his voice bubbling like water. "Historical records show a supply depot at the southern pole. It was lightly defended." Admiral's eyes narrowed. "We won, that is what matters." "You won," agreed. "But how many soldiers did the enemy lose? 100,000, more. They died because you wanted to prove you could hold the moon, not because you needed to kill them. War is not about killing. It is about winning. Those are different things." Commander, standing beside her, nodded slowly. Since their first conversation, he had been testing the child. Every day he brought her a new battle. Every day she found the flaw. It was unsettling. It was also fascinating. The metal box in his hands hummed louder. A hologram flickered to life above it. The image of a man appeared, blue and translucent. He looked like, with the same dark eyes and serious expression. "The child speaks truth," the hologram said. "Economy of force is a fundamental principle. Win fast, win clean, minimize casualties on all sides. That is how humans fight." "Who are you?" demanded. "I am Wu Jin," the hologram said. "Or rather, I am what remains of him, a memory, a teaching tool, a ghost in a machine." Held the box. "This is my father," she whispered. "He died defending our colony, but before he died, he uploaded his memory into this AI core, so I would not be alone." The officers looked at each other. An AI imprint of a dead human military historian. It explained much about the child's knowledge, but it did not explain her instinct, her understanding. She was not just repeating lessons. She was thinking. "Why are we listening to humans?" a voice said from the back. "Their colonies are ash. Their fleets are destroyed. They lost." Looked toward the voice but could not see who spoke. "We lost because we were weak," she said simply. "Small population, few ships. We could not match the Dominion in strength, but we understood them. We knew how they think, how they fight, what they fear. That is why it took them 10 years to defeat us instead of 10 months." She stood on the chair so everyone could see her. "You are strong, all of you. You have big ships and powerful weapons, but you fight like you are strong. You face your enemies directly. You trade blow for blow. That is honorable, but it is also stupid." Made a clicking sound that might have been laughter. "Explain, little warrior." "The Dominion controls half the galaxy now," said. "They are winning everywhere. Why? Because they are strong? No, because you let them use their strength. You meet them in open battle. You follow the rules of war. You fight with honor." She shook her head. "Honor is for peacetime. War is about survival." Wu Jin's hologram nodded. "My daughter understands what many warriors forget. The enemy is not a sporting opponent. They are an equation to be solved. Find the variables. Change the outcome." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the ship. Red lights flashed. Lieutenant's console erupted with warnings. "Distress signal," he reported. 3 systems away. Civilian station under attack. Dominion forces. Heavy casualties reported." Admiral's claws dug into his command throne. "How many ships?" "Unknown, but the station is falling. Thousands of civilians." The bridge fell silent. Every being there knew the calculation. The refugee fleet had limited combat capability. They were transports, cargo ships, and a handful of escorts. If they tried to help, they might all die. If they ran, they would be safe, but thousands would die. Climbed down from the chair and walked to the tactical display. The holographic map showed star systems, trade routes, and the blinking red marker of the station under attack. "You are going to leave them," she said. It was not a question. "We must," said. His voice was heavy. "We carry 50,000 refugees. I cannot risk them for a station that may already be lost." "Then let me show you how to save them without dying," said. Every eye turned to her. Santini twitched forward. "What?" Pointed at the map. "You said the Dominion is attacking. How do they fight? What is their doctrine, their pattern?" "Overwhelming force," said. They send a large fleet, destroy all defenses, and occupy the territory. Exactly, said. They are predictable, and predictable enemies can be beaten. She looked up at Admiral. Give me 10 minutes to show you a plan. If you do not like it, we leave. But if you do like it, we can save those people. Looked at this human child, this tiny being from a broken species who dared to tell admirals and commanders how to fight. Everything logical said he should ignore her. Humans lost their war. What could they teach? But something in her eyes made him pause. They were not the eyes of a child. They were the eyes of someone who had seen too much, learned too much, and refused to forget the lessons written in blood. 10 minutes, he said. Show me this human magic. Smiled for the first time since boarding the refugee ship. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who had found a puzzle she knew how to solve. First, she said, tell me everything about Dominion honor codes and combat psychology. My father taught me that if you understand how someone thinks, you can make them do anything you want. Wu Jin's hologram flickered beside her. And humans are very, very good at understanding their enemies. The tactical display glowed in the dim light of the conference room, stood on a box so she could reach the controls. Her small fingers moved across the holographic map, rearranging ships like pieces on a game board. The Dominion believes in honor, she said. Her voice was steady now, confident. They announce their attacks. They give civilians time to evacuate. They think this makes them noble. It does, Commander said. Warning civilians before an attack is the mark of a civilized species. Shook her head. It is also a weakness because it makes them predictable. They will broadcast their victory before they have actually won. They will show off their strength. That is what my father called tactical narcissism. Around the table, officers from 6 different species watched the human child move their ships around. Some looked skeptical, others looked curious. Admiral simply watched, his yellow eyes unblinking. Our refugee ship has a strong sensor signature, continued. Big, slow, obviously full of civilians. The Dominion will scan us from far away. They will know we are here. That is why we should run, Lieutenant said. Water dripped from his gills as he spoke. If they see us, they will attack us too. Yes, agreed. Unless we make them think we are already running. Look, she pulled up a star chart. This is the route we are on. This is the station under attack. There is a debris field here between us and them. Old battle wreckage from the war 3 years ago. She zoomed in on the debris field. Thousands of destroyed ships, broken satellites, and floating metal filled the space. We broadcast a distress signal. We say our engines are damaged. We say we are drifting into the debris field and cannot escape. They will come to capture us, said, understanding beginning to dawn in his multiple eyes. No, said, they will send 1 or 2 ships to capture us. The rest will stay at the station because we are no threat. We are just refugees, prey, not predators. She moved the holographic ships again. When their scout ships come close, we are not damaged at all. We ambush them here in the debris field where sensors do not work well. We destroy them quickly and quietly. Then what? Asked. We still cannot fight their main fleet. Smile was cold. We do not fight their main fleet. We steal their scout ships' identification codes. We broadcast their signals. Then we fly toward the station pretending to be them. We get close. Very close. Close enough that when we broadcast the station's self-destruct codes, the Dominion fleet cannot stop us in time. The room fell silent, made a bubbling sound of confusion. The station does not have self-destruct codes, and even if it did, we do not know them. That is true, said, but the Dominion fleet does not know that we do not know. When they hear their own ships broadcasting the station's destruction sequence, they will panic. They will think we hacked their systems. They will think we are about to blow up the station with them near it. They will retreat, breathed. They will pull back to a safe distance. Yes, said. And while they are pulling back and arguing about what to do, We dock with the station, load as many civilians as we can, and run. By the time they realize we tricked them, we are gone." Admiral leaned back in his throne, his claws tapped against the metal armrest. "This plan relies on deception, lies, tricks. It is not honorable." "No," agreed, "it is not." "I like it," said. Before anyone could respond, the door opened. A human man entered, wearing the faded uniform of a Marine. He was tall and broad, with scars across his face and arms. His name was Yang, and he was one of only 12 human soldiers left in this sector of space. "I heard you are planning something stupid," Yang said. He looked at, "And I heard you are the one planning it." Looked up at the soldier. She had seen him around the ship but never spoken to him. He scared her a little. He had the eyes of someone who had killed many times and would kill again without hesitation. "It is not stupid," she said quietly. Yang walked to the tactical display and studied it. His jaw worked as he thought. Finally, he nodded. "No, it is not stupid, it is clever, very clever." He looked at the alien officers. "This is how humans fight. We are small, we are weak, but we are tricky. We make our enemies defeat themselves." "You approve?" asked. "I more than approve," Yang said. "I volunteer to lead the boarding team. If we are doing this, we do it right." He looked down at, "Who taught you to think like this?" "My father," said. She held up the metal box. Wu Jin's hologram appeared. "Ah," the AI said. "Another survivor, Sergeant Yang if I am not mistaken. You served in the defense of New Pyongyang." Yang's face went hard. "I did. I was one of 7 soldiers who walked away from that hell." "Then you understand," Wu Jin said. "You understand why we taught our children war. Because someone has to remember how we fought. Someone has to carry forward what we learned." "She is 9 years old," Yang said, but there was no anger in his voice, only sadness. "I am old enough," said. "I have seen war, I have seen death. I cannot unforgetting what I know." Another child appeared in the doorway. She was maybe 10 years old with blue skin and silver hair. Her name was Da, though she was not human despite her name. She was a species of empaths who felt the emotions of others. "The other children heard about the plan," Da said softly. "They want to help." "Absolutely not," said. "This is too dangerous for." "We are already in danger," Da interrupted. "We are refugees running from a war. Everything is dangerous. At least this way we do something. We help others." She walked to and took her hand. "You are the first person on this ship who treated me like I was not broken, like I was not useless because I am small. Let us be useful together." Squeezed her hand. She had been alone for so long. Having a friend even for a moment felt strange. Foreign, but also good. "Children should not fight," said. "Children should not have to watch their parents die," replied. "But we did anyway. The universe does not care what should or should not be. It only cares what is." Yang laughed. It was a harsh sound. "She is definitely her father's daughter, and her mother's too, I am guessing. Noah's special forces, was she not?" Nodded. The memory hurt, but she did not cry. She had no tears left. "Then it is settled," said. He stood up, his massive body unfolding. "We vote, all officers. Do we follow the human child's plan or do we run?" One by one, the officers voted. Some voted to run. Safety was logical, but most voted to try. They had been running for so long. Maybe it was time to do something else. Maybe it was time to win. "The vote is carried," announced. "We execute the plan. May whatever gods you believe in protect us all." Looked at the tactical display. The ships, the station, the people who needed help. In her mind she could see how it would unfold, every step, every decision. The math was clear. They could win this, she was almost certain. Almost. "Thank you," she whispered to the room. "Thank you for listening to me." Placed a hand on her shoulder. It was gentle despite his sharp claws. "No, little one. Thank you for teaching us that there is more than one way to be strong." The refugee ship drifted toward the debris field, its engines sputtering and coughing false distress. On the bridge, watched the sensors with unblinking eyes. Beside her, Wu Jin's hologram flickered softly. Two ships breaking from the main fleet, Lieutenant reported. His webbed fingers danced across the console. Dominion scouts, they are coming to investigate. Predicted behavior confirmed, said quietly. She looked at Admiral. They think we are helpless, that is good. His claws gripped his command throne. All ships, battle positions. Stay hidden in the debris until my command. Throughout the refugee fleet, small combat ships powered down their systems. They floated among the wreckage like corpses, cold and dark, waiting. His heart pounded in her chest. This was different from studying battles in her father's files. This was real. People would die today. Maybe her, maybe everyone. Do not be afraid, Wu Jin's hologram said softly. Only could hear him through her earpiece. Fear is natural, use it. Let it sharpen your mind. I am not afraid of dying, whispered back. I am afraid of being wrong. Then do not be wrong. The Dominion scout ships approached slowly, their weapons powered but not armed. They were being cautious but not cautious enough. They saw a broken refugee ship and wounded prey. They did not see the trap. Distance 2,000 meters, said. 1,500, 1,000. Now said. Now roared. The debris field exploded with light and motion. Hidden combat ships powered up their weapons and engines simultaneously. Energy beams lanced through space, striking the scout ships from 6 directions at once. The Dominion ships tried to react. They were well-trained and quick, but they were surprised, surrounded, and outnumbered. Within 30 seconds, both ships were drifting hulks, their crews dead or dying. Felt bile rise in her throat. She had done this. She had killed those people. They had families, lives, dreams, and she had ended them with mathematics and deception. Stay focused, Wu Jin said in her ear. Grieve later, win now. Boarding teams away. Yang's voice came through the communication system, moving to secure the scout ships. Watched the tactical display as small assault craft flew from the refugee fleet to the crippled Dominion ships. Minutes passed like hours. She counted her heartbeats. 100, 200, 300. We are in, Yang reported. Downloading their identification codes now. Wait, we have a problem. His blood went cold. What problem? One of the crew is still alive. He is trying to send a warning to the main fleet. Stop him, shouted. Closed her eyes. She could see it in her mind. The wounded Dominion soldier, the communication panel, the seconds ticking away. Do not kill him, she said suddenly. Everyone on the bridge turned to look at her. What? Santeni twitched in confusion. Do not kill him, repeated. Her mind raced through possibilities. Let him send a message, but give me his communication channel first. Child, this is madness, began. Trust me, said, please, just trust me for 30 more seconds. Yang's voice came back. You had better know what you are doing, kid, patching you through now. Took a deep breath. She opened a channel to the wounded Dominion soldier. When she spoke, her voice was different, higher, scared, the voice of a child who had seen too much. Please do not hurt us, she said in the Dominion language. Her father had taught her 12 languages. We are just refugees, just children and families, please. There was a pause, then a rough voice responded. Who is this? My name is, I am 9 years old. The adults are all dead. It is just us children now. We are scared. We do not know what to do. Are you going to kill us too? Another pause, longer this time. The soldier was thinking, could imagine his face, his confusion. His training told him refugees were enemies, but children were children, even enemy children. Stay calm, the soldier said finally. Do not do anything stupid. We will board your ship and take you prisoner. You will not be harmed if you cooperate. Thank you, said. Her voice trembled perfectly, mixing real fear with calculated performance. We are so scared. The battle was so loud. Is it over now? Yes, the soldier said. It is over. You lost, but you will live. Good, said. Then her voice changed, became colder, older. Now sleep. Through the communication channel, she heard Yang's rifle fire once. The soldier's channel went dead. The bridge was silent. Hands were shaking. Why? Asked softly. Why talk to him if you were going to kill him anyway? Because he needed to believe we were helpless, said. If he warned his fleet that we were dangerous, they would be ready. But now, if anyone heard that transmission, they heard a scared child. They will think we are no threat. They will not expect what comes next. She looked at the tactical display. And I wanted him to know, before he died. I wanted him to know that a human child defeated him. My father said that psychological warfare is about breaking the enemy's confidence, making them doubt themselves. Your father taught you many terrible things, said quietly. Yes, agreed. But he also taught me that every life matters, every death means something. I will remember that soldier. I will remember all of them. That is the price of victory. Codes acquired, Yang reported. We have their identification signals, heading back now. The next phase began. The refugee fleet moved forward, broadcasting the stolen Dominion codes. To the enemy sensors, they looked like friendly ships returning from their patrol. Guided them like a conductor leading an orchestra. Closer, closer. The Dominion fleet did not react. They saw their own signals, their own identification markers. When they were only 500 kilometers from the station, gave the command. Broadcast the self-destruct sequence. The communication officer, a crystalline being named, sent the false signal. It went out on all Dominion military frequencies. A computer-generated countdown. 10 minutes until the station would explode. Chaos erupted in the Dominion fleet. Ships broke formation. Commanders shouted contradictory orders. Some ships moved away from the station. Others tried to stop the countdown that did not exist. Now said, get those people. The refugee fleet ignored the Dominion chaos and flew straight to the docking ports. Airlocks connected. Doors opened. Thousands of terrified civilians rushed aboard, carrying children and belongings and hope. 5 minutes passed, 6, 7. They are figuring it out, said. The Dominion fleet is reorganizing. They know it was a trick. How many civilians are aboard? Asked. 8,000, reported. But there are still more, maybe 5,000 still on the station. Looked at the tactical display. The math was clear. If they stayed longer, the Dominion fleet would reach them. They would all die. But if they left now, 5,000 people would be abandoned. Go, said a voice, turned, to stood behind her, tears running down her blue face. I can feel them, the people on the station. They know, they understand, they want you to go. They want the children to live. We cannot just leave them, said. We can, Admiral said. His voice was heavy. And we must, because if we stay, no one survives. Pull back all ships, maximum speed. The refugee fleet disconnected from the station and accelerated away. Behind them, the Dominion fleet arrived moments too late. They had been tricked, humiliated, defeated by refugees and a 9-year-old child. On the bridge, watched the station grow smaller on the display. 5,000 people, 5,000 lives she could not save. She had won the battle, but it did not feel like victory. You did well, Woojin said. His hologram put a hand on her shoulder, even though she could not feel it. You saved 8,000 people. I killed 5,000, whispered. No, said. He knelt beside her. The Dominion killed them. War killed them. You did not start this. You only played the game with the pieces you were given. Looked at him. Does it get easier, the killing, the choosing who lives and who dies? No, said honestly. It never gets easier. That is how you know you are still human. News of the victory spread through the refugee networks like fire through dry grass. A human child had tricked an entire Dominion fleet. She had saved 8,000 lives using nothing but deception and psychology. The story grew with each telling, becoming legend. Did not feel like a legend, she felt tired. The refugee ship's communal area had become her classroom. Every day, officers and soldiers came to her with battles to study. She analyzed them all: the defense of Crystal Station, the raid on Colony, the last stand at Gateway Prime. Every battle had flaws, every victory could have been better. But she also taught the children. They came every day, bringing other young refugees with her. They sat in a circle around while she explained tactics using simple drawings and toy ships. She made it a game: hide and seek with starships, puzzles with military formations, ways to make war seem less terrible. "Why do we need to learn this?" a young owl child asked one day. His name was Bora, and his parents had died in the same attack that killed his mother. "Because the adults are tired," said simply. "They have been fighting for so long. Maybe we can find better ways, smarter ways, ways that save more lives. Or maybe the war will end before we grow up," De said hopefully. Did not answer. She had stopped believing in happy endings. 3 months after the Battle of 3 Moons, as they started calling it, the Dominion launched a massive assault. Intelligence reports said they were gathering every available ship for one final push to crush the refugee resistance. Admiral called an emergency council. Every ship captain in the scattered refugee fleet joined the holographic meeting. Hundreds of faces from dozens of species filled the display. "They are coming for us," said all of us. "Every refugee fleet in this sector. They will arrive in 1 week." "How many ships?" someone asked. 300, maybe more." The council chamber fell silent. 300 warships against refugees in transport vessels. It was not a battle, it was an execution. "We should scatter," Captain suggested. He commanded a cargo hauler full of civilian families. "If we spread out, some of us might survive." "And most of us will die alone," said, "picked off one by one." "What choice do we have?" another captain demanded. "We cannot fight 300 warships." "No," said from the back of the room, "but we can make them fight each other." All eyes turned to her. She walked forward holding Wujin's box. The hologram flickered to life beside her. "The Dominion is strong because they are united," said. 300 ships following one plan, one commander. If we break their unity, they become 300 separate problems instead of one big problem. "How do we break their unity?" asked. Smiled. It was not a nice smile. "We give them a target they cannot ignore, a prize so valuable they will fight each other for the honor of capturing it." She activated the tactical display. "We broadcast a message, a recording, a human child teaching alien children how to fight. We show them that their greatest shame, their biggest defeat came from me, a 9-year-old human. We make it personal." "They will hunt you," Yang said. He had been standing in the shadows as always. "Every ship will want the honor of killing you." "Yes," agreed. "But we tell them where I am. We say I am on one specific ship, and then we do not tell them which one." Understanding dawned across the council. Wujin's hologram nodded approvingly. 300 ships," said slowly, "all trying to find one child. They will scan every refugee vessel, board every suspicious ship. They will turn on each other, accusing others of hiding the target. Their fleet will fragment. And while they are fighting among themselves," continued, "the refugees scatter, not randomly, following a pattern, a code. Each ship knows where to go, when to go, and how to coordinate. We call it the Scattered Seed Protocol." She pulled up the detailed plan. It was beautiful in its complexity. Refugee ships spreading out in carefully calculated directions. Some would broadcast false signals. Others would go silent. Some would group together briefly before splitting again. To an outside observer, it would look like chaos, but it was planned chaos, controlled chaos. "And what happens to you?" Da asked quietly, "if they are all looking for you?" Looked at her friend. "I will be on a small ship, fast and hard to find. moving between the refugee vessels, never staying in one place, leading them on a chase. Until they catch you, Da said. Maybe, admitted. Or maybe I stay ahead of them long enough for everyone else to escape. That is acceptable. No, Yang said. He stepped forward. I will not let a child sacrifice herself. You do not have a choice, said. Her voice was cold, empty. I am already dead. I died with my mother on a burning world. I am just a ghost, but I can be a useful ghost. The room was silent. Then Admiral spoke. We vote, as always. Do we follow this plan? One by one, the captains voted. They did not want to. They hated the idea of using a child as bait, but they could see no other way. The math was clear. Some would die so others could live. The vote passed. For the next week, the refugee fleet prepared. They practiced the scattered seed protocol until every captain could execute it perfectly. They armed the small, fast ship that would carry. They said their goodbyes. On the last night, they came to quarters. They sat together in silence for a long time. I will remember you, Da said finally. I am not dead yet, said. I know, but I want to say it anyway. They hugged. It was the first time it hugged anyone since her mother died. It hurt. It helped. When the Dominion fleet arrived, everything happened as predicted. The broadcast went out. The challenge, the insult, the prize of capturing the human child who humiliated them. The Dominion fleet fractured. Ships broke formation, each trying to be the first to find her. They scanned refugee vessels. They boarded suspects. They argued with each other over sensor readings and false leads. And while they fought among themselves, the scattered seed protocol activated. Refugee ships scattered like stars across the darkness. Most escaped. Not all. War never saves everyone. Ship ran and ran and ran. 10 years later, Admiral Wu stood on the bridge of the Unity, the first integrated human-alien warship. She was 19 years old and commanded officers 3 times her age from a dozen species. The war had ended 2 years ago. The Dominion had collapsed, torn apart by internal conflicts and the guerrilla tactics that refugee fleets had learned from a child with a data pad and her father's AI core. Admiral, Commander said from the tactical station. He was older now, his shell graying at the edges. The new cadets are ready for their first lesson. Walk to the training room. Young beings from across the galaxy stood at attention. Humans, Al, and more, all of them learning to work together. My name is Wu, she said. Some of you know my story. Some of you think I am a hero. I am not. I am a soldier who survived when others did not. I am someone who learned terrible lessons and refuses to let them be forgotten. She activated the tactical display. Today, I will teach you about the Battle of Crimson Nebula. It is considered a perfect victory by the Al people, but like all perfect things, it has flaws. In her pocket, Wu Jin's box hummed softly. The AI had degraded over the years, but he was still there, still teaching, still guiding. War, said to her students, is not about being strong. It is about understanding. Understanding your enemy, understanding yourself, understanding that every life matters and every death is a failure we must learn from. She looked at the young faces watching her. Some would die in the next war. There was always a next war. But maybe, if they learned these lessons, fewer would die. Maybe they would find better ways. The best victory, said, repeating her mother's words from a lifetime ago, is the one where nobody has to die. Plan for that, but prepare for war. Because the universe does not care what should be. It only cares what is. Outside the window, stars shined in the darkness. Somewhere out there, refugees still ran. Wars still burned. Children still learned to be soldiers before they learned to be adults. But here on this ship, different species worked together, learned together, grew together. It was not peace, not yet, but it was a start. And sometimes thought a start was enough.